Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Of course, we're following several top stories this afternoon, and encourage you to check out atlantanewsfirst.com and download our free app for all the latest. But what I'm showing to you right now is a vigil where loved ones, grieving family members and friends gathered asking for answers after a young woman was shot and killed in DeKalb County. Atlanta News First reporter Lonnie Latang was at a vigil for their loved one, and she spoke with those grieving about what they're calling for.
I didn't believe it. I still don't believe it. It's hurt me to the core.
She was a great person, man. A live soul, man. This was very unexpected, let alone tragic.
The life of the party, a beloved sister, friend, daughter, and aunt. Chantrell Bell, taken at 22 years old by gun violence.
She loved to go outside to have fun. She just liked to bring the spirit.
She loved me on TikTok. She was on TikTok with all her little cousins. She loves to have fun. That's what Shan loves to do. Party and dye her hair red.
DeKalb County police say early Wednesday morning on Columbia Drive, a fight broke out in a business parking lot. Investigators believe that led to a shooting. Officials say someone shot Chantrell. Her friends drove her to the hospital where she later died.
I couldn't believe to know that my sister was gone. Her, out of all people, was gone.
Taking it one day at a time as police search for the shooter responsible, loved ones are asking for that person to step up.
Please turn yourself in wherever you are, wherever state you in, wherever you went. Please turn yourself in. That's all we want is justice for my baby sister.
I'm Lonnie Latang, Atlanta News First.
And in southwest Atlanta yesterday, a man was killed as police were pursuing him. They were called for the report of a shooting, and they found a man holding a rifle and a handgun who then took off. Then police heard gunshots, and they found him dead. But they say they believe he was actually shot by someone else. Atlanta News First Blake Devine has more on the other person who was shot.
Atlanta police first called to Allison Court just after 7:30 this morning after receiving 911 calls of a person shot. Quite a chaotic scene when we arrived. Atlanta police patrol cars, Atlanta fire trucks, along with medics on scene. We spotted a man on Myrtle Street suffering from a gunshot wound. Medics immediately were waved over and he was transported by ambulance to Grady Hospital. Nearby neighbors say he was shot in the apartment complex and managed to walk a few blocks down the road to the bus stop.
He just sat at the bus stop and he was like, "Oh, I got grazed." But it wasn't a graze, it was a bullet. And when I flagged down the police, she came over, took his shirt off, and he had a bullet wound.
I heard 3 shots from down that way. And next thing I know, there was police officers coming in cars, but there was already police officers sitting over there. And there was a man that came walking down the street. They arrested him.
Here's another look at the crime scene. Nearby neighbors obviously startled and alarmed with this violence on this Saturday. At this point in time, we are still waiting on police to give us an update on the current condition of the man who was shot and hospitalized. Reporting in southwest Atlanta, Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
And the Israeli Prime Minister visits Washington, as well as leaders from African nations, and President Donald Trump's 90-day tariff pause ends. Washington correspondent Ryan Henson has a look at the week ahead in Washington.
With President Donald Trump's signature now on his big, beautiful bill and the House being out of session, the focus in Washington turns to foreign affairs this week. Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to visit Washington. It comes just weeks after Israel and then the U.S. attacked Iran to try to cripple the nation's nuclear weapons program. Trump, along with leaders in the Middle East, are also working to try to forge a ceasefire in Gaza. Israel has accepted the terms of the proposed 60-day truce, while Hamas submitted a, quote, positive response to the plan. Also this week, Trump is hosting leaders from 5 African nations. The meetings come after the Trump administration helped broker a peace deal last month between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Also this week, tariffs. With his 90-day pause on global tariffs set to expire this coming Wednesday, Trump said Friday he signed letters to 12 countries outlining various import taxes. He says he plans to send them out on Monday. And that's your week ahead in Washington. I'm Ryan Henson.
And in Savannah this weekend, a protest against horse-drawn carriages escalated when someone took a water bucket from the horses and actually drenched a city council member with it. That city council member is proposing a cooler temperature requirement that would keep the horses inside when it's above 85 degrees outside. Jasmine Butler has the story.
With President Donald Trump's signature now.
Protesters making their voices heard in City Market Saturday. Their message to end horse carriage tours in the city and lower the temperatures in which horses can be on the streets by 10 degrees.
This is much more aligned with the science and it is much more humane.
What started as a peaceful protest turned into a bucket of water taken from a carriage stand being thrown at Savannah Alderman Nick Palumbo.
That's where we draw the line. You do not attack sitting council members when they're here exercising their First Amendment right.
People here told me there was a possibility that he worked at the nearby carriage stand. Owner of Carriage Tours of Savannah, Kara Marshall, says he doesn't.
That was completely out of line. I don't know who the person was, and I don't approve of it.
While not an employee at Carriage Tours of Savannah, we were able to find out that he was an employee at Savannah Carriage Tours, two separate businesses. An employee there says he's since been fired.
Call the cops!
The protest comes after the Savannah city manager sent out this memo that could change how temperatures are measured to determine the limit in which horses can work on the street.
City Council on Thursday is going to get three proposals. One is wet bulb globe temperature. One is 92 degrees, which doesn't do hardly anything. And then 85 degrees, which joins other cities at similar temperatures that will reform this outdated practice.
Marshall against Palumbo's request.
So we worked with the city. We also worked with veterinarians to come up with what the guidelines would be. And it was a months-long process, and it was something that we take very seriously.
A nonprofit is giving away wedding dresses to first responders, military members, or their fiancés. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Bimefor heads to one of the participating shops on the good side.
Hi. Hi, what can I help you with today? I am Alina. I have an appointment at noon. Beautiful.
Alina Palo is searching for the perfect wedding dress to marry the man of her dreams in.
Beautiful.
Her fiance, Keegan Cummings, is an officer in the United States Army, an honorable job that also comes with a lot of sacrifice. That's why the nonprofit Brides Across America is partnering with local bridal shops to provide free wedding dresses to first responders, members of the military, or their fiancés.
They just walk out the door, they sign a piece of paper, and they leave, and it's straightforward and simple.
Caitlin Morrow is a stylist at one of the participating stores, Belfiore Bridal in East Cobb. Dresses here typically run anywhere from about $1,500 to $2,500. But with the help of Brides Across America, eligible brides walk out without paying a penny. Palo says having that cost covered is invaluable.
A huge thank you to them, and this whole program is just incredible. Like I said, definitely helping us out. And just been such an authentic experience with them.
It's a small way of giving back to some of America's heroes and their families, thanking them for their selfless and tireless work.
We are happy to get them in and out and with the dress that they love.
We feel like all of our brides in our Brides Across America program do so much for America in general, and we just want to give back a little bit and kind of do what we can to make their big day as special as possible and as easy as possible.
Chelsea Bimefor, Atlanta News First.
And more on this and all of our top stories on AtlantaNewsFirst.com and our free mobile news app. Now back to local news live.